What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the 6th episode of Rap Roots Media Interviews. We're here today with Chandler. He is blowing up on TikTok right now for his song, Nothing to It. Can you tell the audience a bit about yourself, Chandler?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Chandler, and I am a rapper mostly, based out of Virginia. Currently attempting to get my new song with On the Hunt, Nothing to It, popping even more so than it is right now.
Yeah,
It's consuming my life.
I could see why. The song is huge right now. I'm going to be honest. When I reached out to you, I did not expect a response. I hit you up randomly, and I was just like, well, what the hell? If he answers, he answers. And you did. And I was shocked. So I was like, let's do it. This interview date actually got someone canceled on me. That's the only reason I had it available. And I was pissed when it happened, and I'm so happy that we were able to do this with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to ask about your cadence. It's a very unique cadence. You got the southern twang to it. But when I hear you talk naturally, that's not really how you talk. So was that like a calculated way of moving? Like, I'm going to use this cadence in my raps? Or was it just like natural?
I mean, I think it's kind of a mix between the two things. Like, I am influenced by like the area that I am from.
Yeah.
There's definitely some southern rap in there. I'm originally from the 757 in Virginia, which is home to many, many rap legends. So there's definitely just like an angle that I take it from, but I also, I try to give the people, what they want. So when something resonates with people, I usually go out of my way to try to at least make a song 50-50 between, like what I 110% want to make and what I think they 110% want to hear. But it doesn't feel inauthentic to me at all. Certainly when I'm reciting other people's rap lyrics and singing along to songs, and I'm very animated, and that's kind of where it comes from, I think.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Oh, dropped my questions. All right. I think that makes a lot of sense. Definitely, you get accustomed to your environment for sure. I also wanted to ask, what part of you said Virginia?
Yeah, I'm from the 757, which is like the Newport News, Hampton Roads
Okay, gotcha.
area.
I saw that you're going on a U.S. tour. Is this your first tour?
No, but this is my first time going to a lot of these places: Boston, New Jersey,
Yeah.
Atlanta. There's a handful of places on there that I have never been before, but this is far from my first tour. I've been doing it for a long time. I just haven't always been going on tour as Chandler. I've played in a lot of bands and collectives and things in the past. So.
Gotcha. Where's the place that you're looking forward to seeing the most on this tour?
I had a really good time playing in Chicago last time I played there. I played there back in the summer. I'm excited to go back there. I lived in New York for a while, so it's always a vibe to play in New York. And this time when I go on tour in June, I get to play twice, once at a festival and once at my own headline show in Brooklyn, which I'm really excited about, just having like a music-filled weekend in New York. But also Richmond, Virginia is always my favorite place to play because it's the place that has the music scene that I'm mostly involved in of the ones that I
Yeah, I
tend to
noticed.
travel to.
I
So.
noticed on your Instagram a lot of people talking about Richmond. I'm not sure if you're from there or that's just where you reside
I'm not
currently.
original. Yeah, I'm not originally from Richmond. Like I said, I'm originally from the 757, but
Yeah.
I went to college in Richmond, and I relocated back to Richmond post New York, and I kind of go back and forth between the two at this point. So Richmond just has a long history with me, or I have a long history with Richmond, I guess I should say.
Gotcha. You said you're a very animated rapper. A lot of people might take that as your joking, jovial nature is they view you as a comedy rapper. Do you take offense to when people say, "Oh, you're a comedy rapper," or your raps are filled with jokes. Do you take offense to that at all?
I don't take offense to it, no, because I don't think the comedy rapper moniker is true, but I think of myself as more a rapper who happens to be funny, you know? So I don't think that gets in the way of showcasing my penmanship at all. And I think that if people take at face value that something is funny, and that means that it isn't hard to write, that's kind of silly.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So
I've noticed when I got this interview, I went back through some of your catalog, and it's definitely, you've always had the bars. Even if the cadence has developed over time, you've always had the bars, you've always had the ability to write and put things together. When you're in the studio making music, is it more you come in with something written ready to go, or is it you're punching in, you're freestyling? How does that typically go in the studio space?
yeah, I'm never trying to make it out to seem that I have this incredible ability to freestyle. I have gotten more into punching in recently, just trying to experiment with different flows and stretch music production in a way that I haven't in the past, because I used to be trying to cram so many words into so many breaths and was rapping faster, which is I love doing. It's especially fun to do live, but listenability, I think these days, you know, people like space, trends like space, you know, they like breath, ad libs have become a part of the beat. So yeah, I think that I lost my place. What was your question? I lost track.
It was just
What was
about
the
your process in the studio. Is it more written or is it
the
more?
process in the studio.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so usually stuff is written, but I would say something out of the ordinary about my studio process is that it's actually extremely calculated and written to the nth degree. Like, I'm not even punching in, you know, like ad libs off the fly. Usually I have every single
So you write your ad libs too. That's interesting. I've never heard that
I
before.
usually write the ad libs down. I do an emphasis. There's always at least 3 tracks. There's always a main vocal, and then there's what I call an emphasis take, where, you know, I might be doing my casual like down here,
Yeah.
and then in the background, which you can really hear highlighted on Nothing to It, I'm like screaming the words in the background or something like that, you know, and kind of layering. So those things are a through line throughout every song. But, you know, I just think that you earn the ability to experiment with those kinds of things when you are somebody who has proof that they've been doing it for so long and can do the things that people would, you know, if somebody was saying, you know, oh, he's punching in and he's doing all this stuff, well, I kind of feel like, okay, but if you know that I can do the other stuff too, then maybe, you know, I can experiment with these things in an effort to make a better track, a more listenable track, because the proof is in the pudding that I have done all of those things in the past as well for a long time.
Yes, for sure. I wanted to ask you about your studio time with Nothing to It. When you made that song, was it immediately, I know this is going to be a hit, or were you just as shocked as everyone else when this sound pops off the way that it did?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. It was actually probably the most unexpected thing in the world. I mean, you never expect it, especially at my level, even having had songs pop in the past. They've never been, you know, charting. I couldn't have told you in a million years that this would be, you know, getting on a Billboard chart or something like that. That's so insane. I could make something that I thought was the best song in the world, and I wouldn't assume that that would happen. So it's incredibly humbling, and it's also confusing, but I wouldn't change it, you know, for the world. It definitely makes me take a step back and, you know, wonder if I could ever really know what the right next step is. And it's kind of freeing in that way to know that, you know, just because you don't have the most confidence in something. And when I say that, I mean to say that like it's an EDM beat. Like I don't go over EDM instrumentals. You know,
Yeah.
I never have. Like unless it's like fucking around with a buddy
Yeah.
in the car. So it was just totally out of my comfort zone, and what I did on the song is something very different than I've done on anything else, with the very matter of factness and the yelling like ad libs in the background and all this stuff. You know, it's just yeah, totally shocking, humbling. Wouldn't change it for the world, but it'll probably definitely influence and advise what I do in the studio next.
Yeah. For sure. So shocking, humbling, all of those feelings. I was going to ask you your initial reaction, but I feel like we just got it right there. So that was kind of
Yeah, yeah.
perfect. I saw your freestyle on the radar. That's
Mm-hmm.
obviously a huge platform. So many legendary rappers have gone through there and made their presence felt. So was that a humbling, noteworthy experience for you? Was it kind of surreal to have that moment?
To the point, up until that point, that was probably the most. I mean, I'll say it. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna act like I wasn't nervous. I went in there like pretty shortly after Drake was there. I was actually the day after Lil Yachty and the Concrete
Mm.
cipher happened, because they have a book that is filled with Polaroids, and every time somebody goes on there, you take a photo with Gabe, the host, and they put the Polaroid in the book, and you sign the Polaroid, and it's literally like Lil Yachty, the Concrete Boys, and then me. And so, looking at that, I was like, whew, wow. You know, it's just like you never think that you're gonna get on those types of platforms, especially, you know, people want to say, bro, definitely paid to get on this. People always think that, you know, when you have a moment, they think you paid for it. They think you
Yeah.
know somebody. And that's not the case with the song that's moving right now, nor is it the case with On the Radar or anything else. So it just felt great, you know. I mean, just walking in there, seeing the green lights and everything, it was like, man, this is little kid Chandler rapping on a gaming headset would be flipping out right now.
That's amazing, man. I saw that on your tour post. Excuse me. On your tour poster, it said that you would be coming with special guests. Can you reveal any of those special guests to us?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, there's the listed special guests of course, like Billy Markiafava and Ashen Laurel, DJ Tough Luck will all be on select shows, but there'll also be Cash Sinatra in New York on the Brooklyn date. We'll have Cash Sinatra there. In Richmond, we have my closest buddies lunch special, and like it's that bill is absolutely stacked, and we're coming up on really packing out that show. So definitely, you know, if anybody's trying to get tickets, I would get them. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else off rip. I mean, we'll have a handful of people that will be like local special guests, people that are popular in their scene. You know, I know we're potentially working with some sponsors in Raleigh, and yeah, so it's, you know, we're trying to go places and involve the people that are from those places, you know.
Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense. Trying to bring up the local scene in these select areas.
Yep.
Would you mind if I ask? Are you signed? Or are you independent?
I work with a company, but we move like an independent
Okay,
situation. Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. Um, I wanted to ask what the hip hop scene is like in Richmond, and
Mm-hmm.
why were you able to break the mold in this selective area? Why do you feel like your music was able to? Obviously, this song is a huge, big jumping platform, but before that, I seen you had some local buzz. What does it take for, say, a new artist in Richmond to get to that point?
Well, I was very fortunate that I kind of, to a certain degree, at least with, you know, talent buyers at the venues and just people that are tapped in with others in the music scene. When I came back from New York, I kind of had this direct line to some of the, you know, bigger players in the scene, because I had played in bands and stuff for years before I ever went to New York when I was younger. and people that were still prominent or more prominent than they were in the scene. So that was very helpful. But, I just tried to put on for everybody and work with the people that put on for me. And, I just surrounded myself with the people in the city that I believed had a similar drive and people that wanted a similar thing out of this and were willing to collaborate and see a bigger vision. And yeah, it's just about, putting on for the city. If I go on the radar and, Virginia shaped me, I'm going to talk about Virginia. And I think that people respect that. A lot of the people that I respect the most in the scene, people that I've met and people that I haven't met that are somewhere in the city right around the corner that I have mad respect for, they do that as well. I think to some people it's very funny and feels like trivial to be putting on for a city so hard, but when you come from such a vibrant music scene as Richmond, Virginia, that's incubated so many amazing artists and still is, you feel the need to call that out.
For sure. I think like every city, no matter if you think they have a hip hop scene or not, there's definitely pockets everywhere. And every artist wants to be able to. That's like the first thing every big rapper wants to do is I gotta put on for my city.
Yep.
I wanted to ask, what advice would you give to any new artists coming out of Richmond or any other prominent music area, prominent music space, city?
Yeah, I mean, any artist, regardless of where you come from, needs to get the business side of your work straight. Make sure that you're collecting your royalties. It doesn't matter if you feel like, it's pennies on the dollar. If you ever, tip your differential and pop one day, or if you feel like that you will, definitely have your business in order, regardless of where you're at in your career. It's really, really important. The biggest thing I would say is don't be embarrassed to self-promote. If people were in your shoes, they'd do the same thing. And the ones that are hating on it are who gives a fuck?
Yeah, for sure.
You worked so hard on something and you're going to post it to your story one time and then never think about it again.
We did this the other day. I had an interview with somebody else and I said, if you don't promote your work, no one else will. And there are so many young, talented artists that they do exactly what you just said. They throw it on their story one time and then forget about it because, I don't want to be annoying or, I don't want to get too...
You have no option but to be annoying. And it's also better to separate in terms of your following the wheat from the chaff and the people that are going to stick around no matter how much you self-promote, because those are the people that are going to be really, really great and that you're going to appreciate to have on your side later on in your career, that know everything about you and will be able to advocate for the time you've spent creating this music, but yeah, and that's all to say. Also, I always try to clarify this when I talk about this with people. If you love making music just to make music, I'm certainly not saying like if you're making music and you aren't promoting it, that's silly. That's not what I'm saying at all. If you love to make music, you should make music regardless of whether or not you're promoting it. But if your intention is to go somewhere with it all and you're looking around wondering why nothing is moving, it's exactly what you said. Nobody's gonna do it for you unless you get incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So obviously you had this viral song, and that's a huge jumping off point. So where do you go from here? Is there a new album on the way, new music videos, anything that you can hint to us about?
I mean, we just work, we don't let anything like this get in the way of the next step, so this has happened on a smaller scale in the past. The first time it happened was, almost a year in. We had Hot Pocket, we did a remix, We're Moving, those songs do great numbers, definitely a jumping off point. Then we have Double Goose, and that really engages people. And then Figure It Out last summer was the biggest moment up until that point, and that's, how all of these amazing things that have led to this moment happened. And now we're here at a place where we're seeing positions on charts and XYZ that we could have never really wrapped our heads around. But what it shows is that it's working, and I don't feel that I am at a place where I want to make some big jump to change what is already working. Like, I've been big in the singles game for years, so I plan to continue to pump out these singles and promote things as their vignettes, and just try to stick with that and not get too caught up in the commotion of it all. Be appreciative of it and make sure that I'm staying on top of it, but keep in mind that in an instant this song all of a sudden will be yesterday's news, and that I have to have stuff on the other side of this to go. So it's it's like a daunting thought to be like, I have to make that happen again, and then I'll have to make it happen again, and then it'll just be like that probably, until I'm not doing this anymore, which is never. But so that's what it is. You can expect continuous development of what you're already seeing, and hopefully it gets better and better.
I think it will get better and better, man. We are out of questions, so I just want to tell you thank you so much for coming on our show. Obviously, we're a smaller show, and you're a very down-to-earth, cool dude, and I'm glad we had the chance to chat with you today and really get to know you, and I hope your song keeps popping off. I hope the singles keep doing amazing. Thank you for coming on our show, man.
I appreciate that, Braden. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We will be getting out of here. Make sure you guys follow us at Rap Roots Media on all social media platforms. Make sure you guys check out the website, raprootsmedia.com. Chandler, you got any socials you want to promote?
At Chandler Matkins on every platform.
Chandler Matkins, every platform. Go check him out on tour if you're in the areas. Go listen to his songs. Go listen to Nothing to It. Keep him trending. Whoa, that's really cool.
I forgot it does that. That happened to me not too long ago.
That's really cool. Anyways, guys, check him out on tour. Go follow him. Go follow us. We appreciate you guys for tuning into the show today. We're getting out of here. Peace.